Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone has a joyful, delightful, and wonderful day. I've been up since about 4 o'clock and on my second cup of coffee. And thanks to my dog Sadie, who decided she wanted a snack at 4 o'clock in the morning, pawed at me in my bed until I got up and gave her one. So here I am on second cup of coffee. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to do some pictorial on the Great Depression. And by looking at these pictures, I think you'll understand why that you're going to need, other than just food, that you're going to need gold and silver as a currency. And I've done a video like this on my Southern Liberty America channel, and it was quite popular. And so I thought I'd do another one because I had an inbox suggestion that he was in question about why wouldn't you be able to get a return of gold and silver at a purchase if you had to use gold and silver and you you had a return in a monetary value back. Why wouldn't you be able to get it back in gold and silver? So again, I'm going to maybe go over this again, and maybe I'll still be able to reach more people. Some of us I still haven't been able to reach. Now, first off, we're talking about a Great Depression, and we're talking about hungry people, poor people. These people are in poverty. These people are dressed in rags, needing shampoos in their hair. But yet they're still not too prideful to let somebody take a picture of them, because it was a common way of living. It was typical to see a man laying on the streets, hungry and nowhere to go. And people, I would suggest that if you really want to get the sensation of what I'm telling you, get by yourself. Ask the kids to leave the room. Turn off your lights. This went on for years, all through the 30s. And people born during this era knew nothing but poverty, didn't understand anything else but poverty, didn't know what it was like to have a bicycle. Look at these kids. They had nothing, but they were willing to stand up and take a picture. Even the mom had a smile. And this guy, look here. Look, a big pot. How many people today, if you've seen soup for $1, would even stand in that line? How many of you would? How many would even stand in that line to get a bowl of soup dipped with a cup and not even knowing what kind of soup it is? Can you imagine doing something like this? People think sometimes, or we watch a lot of videos at times where whenever we think of an economic collapse, we got so much in tune with it. When we're talking about the collapse of the dollar, and and not having nothing to eat, and riots and stuff like this. Well, that could very well possibly happen. But look at this. This was an era. Okay, this was an era. These people didn't go straight from the Wall Street collapse to people breaking in each other's homes and stealing. Riots in the streets where they coming, to your home to take all your food storages. I think we go to the extreme sometimes when we think about stuff like that. And I do. I think about, there could possibly be a time when it would get to that extent. But all rationale would tell you that this is what you would experience first. This is what you would go through first. And this, I had spoken to a gentleman. Well, no, I didn't speak to him. He actually inboxed me, and he was telling me, one of my subscribers, about how he had a conversation with his grandfather. And I think I'm taking it, if I can remember correctly, where his grandfather grew up during the Great Depression, and explained to him that he had gold coin. And his reason behind it was because of the Great Depression. This gentleman did not want to go and experience what he had before without something that he knew that was going to be able to buy his food or services. Now, that line you just seen in that big field, that wasn't a line, okay, to see Avatar. That was a line to get bread. The one that was like almost like a square, several hundred people in it. People's farms owned by the banks now, being auctioned off. I mean, every hammer, every saw, every screwdriver. People in the fields, tending their crops with hose. Have you ever done that, people? I have. Not a whole field, but an acre. Let me tell you something. It's work. But this was common to these people. They grew in, the young grew, understanding nothing but poverty. And for people to think that you won't be able to use gold and silver is ridiculous. Especially when you got an elderly gentleman that was in that era who now has gold coins to protect himself from ever having to go through an event like this ever again. That's poverty, people. That's just we don't think things out at times. We think just because we got gold and silver and we pay for something that I got to get it back. That's not, in my opinion, the way it's going to be. It's going to be such a desired, and everybody's going to want it. Everybody's going to know that you can buy with it. And if you give someone money, currency, gold and silver is what I'm speaking of, real money, they're not want to give it back to you. They don't want to have to give you nothing back in change. They want to give you something additional, or they're going to give you something in substitute for the gold and silver, and that's going to be fiat currency. Do not think for 1 minute that the U.S. dollar is going to collapse and be obsolete. Look at Zimbabwe. They still got it. It's just worth a lot less, like $1 trillion for a loaf of bread. And when these people that work all day just to be able to acquire 1/10 of a gram to buy a loaf of bread, don't think that man squatted down there with little scales on the dirt there is going to give him back gold. If he's buying bread and only bread, he's going to either get 2 loaves of bread or he's going to get a larger loaf of bread. That's just common sense that tells me that. Don't expect any gold and silver back, especially when that man who is exchanging your gold for his currency or his product is going to give it back to you in the form of metal. No way. If that guy knows for a fact that possibly could be worth more in a few days, look at there. There it is. There's the picture. That's not Avatar. That's not a theater. That's Breadline. I read it up under the picture before I downloaded it. Breadline. You better make sure you got some gold and silver, people. That's just all there is to it. I'd rather be able, I'd be glad to take the advice from someone who experienced the Great Depression. Wouldn't you? I mean, the onlyest time that I would even consider accepting any fiat currency back that I had to would be for this reason right here. And this reason alone. No other reason I will ever want it back unless you get my drift, people. Now, if you're going to buy silver for a period such as this, buy small weights of gold and silver. You'll have a good day.